Good morning, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for Tuesday, November 4th, 2014, around 6:54 in the morning. Election day in the United States, my friends. Go out and vote. Your vote counts. I'm going to vote before going to work today, and it's your civic duty to vote. And your vote counts, as I reiterated. And that's about it on that. Some news to report. The Dallas Mavericks beat the Boston Celtics by a score of 118-113 last night. In Dallas, Celtics are 1-2. And some history. 6 years ago today, Obama was elected the 44th President of the United States. He was the first African-American president in United States history. And also, 13 years ago today, the Arizona Diamondbacks won their first World Series championship against the New York Yankees. And 5 years ago today, the New York Yankees won their 27th World Series championship, beating the Philadelphia Phillies. That's about it on the history today. My next subject is my continuation series of the top 10 things of everything and anything. I have reached the top 10 worst Major League Baseball parks in history. Baseball has had some great ballparks and it had some worse ballparks. This list of the top 10 worst stadiums of all time, many of them were cookie cutter stadiums back in the 70s and 80s for multi-purpose for baseball and football, and it was not good to have a dual-purpose baseball and football stadium for cookie cutter stadiums. They weren't great. And here's the top 10 list. Number 10 on the all-time list is Arlington Stadium. Arlington Stadium was the host ballpark of the Texas Rangers from 1972 to 1993. It was a converted minor league baseball park to suit major league standards and was very awful. The Rangers did not win a World Series championship or make the playoffs in Arlington Stadium. It was not a great Major League Baseball park. And that's number 10 on the all-time list. Number 9 on the all-time list of the worst Major League Baseball parks of all time. Cleveland Municipal Stadium. It was open from 1932 to 1993. Very horrible stadium. It was seat over 80,000. Originally, that stadium was built because Cleveland was hoping to get the 1932 Summer Olympic Games. And that would have been like the Olympic Stadium park for Cleveland, but they didn't get it, so they had to use it for Major League Baseball, and it was home to the Cleveland Browns as well. A lot of fog during the games for the Cleveland Indians because the stadium sat right next to Lake Erie, and sometimes the fog would come in and stuff, so it wasn't the greatest stadium for Major League Baseball. Number 8 on the all-time list of the worst Major League Baseball stadiums of all time. Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, opened from 1970 to 2000. The Pittsburgh Pirates played there. It was a very awful stadium for baseball. The Pirates moved there from Forbes Field, which was a great Major League Baseball park. This had artificial turf, and it was cookie cutter for the Steelers played in it for roughly around the same time as well. The Pirates won 2 World Series championships, and it hosted 2 Major League Baseball All-Star games, but it wasn't the best ideal condition for a baseball stadium, in my opinion. Number 7 on the all-time list of worst Major League Baseball stadiums of all time, Riverfront Stadium. Reds played it there from 1970 to 2002. Awful stadium for baseball, even though the Reds won some world championships while in Riverfront Stadium. It wasn't the best for baseball. Worse because it had artificial turf and stuff. And it was renamed Synergy Field in like the 1990s. In the last few years it was open, they converted from AstroTurf to like grass. But, that was too little too late in my opinion. Number 6 on the all-time list of worst Major League Baseball parks of all time. Landshark Stadium, former home of the Florida Marlins from 1993 to 2011. Another football stadium that was converted into a temporary baseball stadium. It was very very bad. Some games, like the upper deck of Lance Shark Stadium, was covered in top because they never sold out games or never got the attendance for the Florida Marlins because they were an awful team. Home of 2 World Series championships, 1997 and 2003, and they still couldn't draw. And finally, they moved into the baseball-only park in 2012, rebranded as Miami Marlins, but still they can't draw. That comes in at number 6. Number 5 on the all-time list of worst Major League Baseball stadiums of all time. Oakland Alameda Coliseum, home of the Oakland A's since they moved to Oakland in 1968. Another horrible stadium. It also was doubled up as a football stadium for the Oakland Raiders for many years. And then when the Raiders moved back, they kind of destroyed Alameda Coliseum as a baseball-only park, made it into like a football stadium, and the stadium's aging, plumbing is an issue and stuff. The A's need their own ballpark, a baseball-only ballpark, and this is an awful stadium. They won 4 World Series championships well in Oakland, but still, the stadium needs to be replaced. Number 4 on the all-time list of the worst Major League Baseball parks of all time, the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. Opened 1965 through 1999, the first dome stadium in baseball history. They called it the 8th wonder of the world, but the real 8th wonder of the world was the late great Andre Giant, but that's another story for another day. And, this was also one of those multi-purpose stadiums. The Houston Oilers of the National Football League used it and stuff. Very awful, in my opinion. Baseball should be played outside, not inside an indoor stadium. They didn't even think of a retractable roof back then. Number 3 on the all-time list of the worst baseball stadiums of all time, Candlestick Park. Candlestick Park was open for 39 years for baseball, 1960 through 1999. Very horrible stadium. Another stadium that had a lot of fog and stuff. And it was one of those cookie-cutter stadiums as well for football, and it was very horrible. A couple of World Series were played in Giant Stadium, including the infamous 1989 Earthquake Stadium. The Giants now play in the AT&T ballpark, and they've won 3 World Series championships since moving there. Number 2 on the all-time list of worst Major League Baseball stadiums of all time, the Kingdome in Seattle, Washington. Another horrible baseball park. Another cookie-cutter stadium, dome stadium, not with a retractable roof. It was shared by the Seattle Seahawks as well. 23 years. And the Seattle Mariners threatened to move several times if they did not get their own baseball-only stadium. And they finally did in 1999 and saved football field after they got a miraculous run to the American League Championship Series in 1995. That's probably what saved baseball in Seattle. And the number 1 worst Major League Baseball stadium of all time, Olympic Stadium in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, home of the Expos from 1977 through 2004. This stadium was built for the 1976 Summer Olympic Games in Montreal. The Expos were playing at Jarry Park outside of Montreal, which was a converted minor league baseball stadium. And Jarry Park wasn't the ideal Major League Baseball stadium as well. They had a lot of delays for games because of sunshine. True story. And the Expos played there for 27 years. Very awful stadium. They had a roof, but that roof, they had roof problems as well. Attendance was horrible after the baseball strike of 1994. The Expos deserved better fate. They deserved a downtown stadium, LaBelle Park, but they never got it. But one of these days, Montreal will get back a Major League Baseball team. I could feel it, and they're going to get a baseball-only stadium. Olympic Stadium, nicknamed the Big O, was the worst baseball stadium of all time, in my opinion. And that's about it on that. I'll be back later, Facebook friends and YouTube followers, for 2 more video blogs. These video blogs today will be about the Positive Place for Kids TV show on BATV, and the personality profile is going to be Gino Cappelletti, longtime Patriots announcer on the radio and legendary player. He was the first Patriot superstar. And don't forget, Facebook friends, YouTube followers, send me in some questions. They'll be answered on future video blogs. And November is going to be a major month on these video blogs. It's sweeps month. There could be some days I'm going to do 4 video blogs because it's a sweep month. And don't forget, sooner than later, you're going to have video blogs on Julie Broughton, Local 6. Julie has nice legs and a great smile. Heidi Lee Pratt, who has the nicest smile and legs in the world. Janelle Tobin, Crystal Pisto, Dee Patel, last week, no buzz. Donald Beauregard, Tony Ramos, Bruce Cronin. Want to put a wager on it? Richie and Angelo plays millions of dollars scratch tickets. 1-0. Have a good day, everybody.